the time, 'cause I wanna freeze this moment, make it mine, hold you close, now my heart's wide open, when I'm with you suddenly I feel no pain, do you make it go away, do you make it
still rubbing panels as they go together. It's folded the wing mirror in on Gerardo's car.
Misano is such a difficult circuit for these guys to get right. There's a lot of start-stop sections around the back. It's a very, very quick section as well.
It's a fantastic start from the 23. They're 4 wide there by the look of it. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Chaz Draycott Media and welcome to another round of the Sim Stickers Formula 3 Championship, the NEVO Sim Stickers Formula 3 Championship of all things. We're back across the pond in the United Kingdom and this wonderful, wonderful circuit that is Donington Park, spelt with one N, I must remind you, not two. Now, I'm not alone in the commentary box, much like I was last night. Not that I'm going to linger on it, Jack Johns. Ed May joins me in the box once again. Ed, we've had a phenomenal season so far, mate, and I think this round is going to be just as good because Donington Park, very high-speed circuit. It's going to be a lot of fun, this one.
Yeah, you've nailed it down brilliantly. Donington Park, such a high-speed flowing circuit with very little room for error. If you do get it wrong, it's usually a big incident from the speeds that you're carrying through pretty much every single corner on this circuit. And we know, Chaz, from previous rounds and previous iterations of this championship, these drivers are willing to give it absolutely everything, lay it all on the line. This is going to be one heck of a round of racing.
It is indeed in round 4 of the championship as well. I can't believe we're already at round 4, to be honest with you. It's come around very quickly. Taking a quick look at the championship standings, we have Bart Daleman on top in the precision class, 71 points to his name ahead of Kevin Zemstra. Brian Loyne's not far behind, then Carlos Garcia and Carles Alvarez in 5th. Jerome Lamy should be back with us tonight, I believe, and he is in the Year 1 car, so great to see him back after an amazing time at Belle Isle. In the consistency standings, well, it seems to be quite the different story up there, but Hans Polmans on 99 points is top of that championship. Martin Deckens, his teammate, only 5 points back on 94. Martin's been very quick in previous rounds as well, so definitely one to watch. Tim Rutten is 3rd ahead of Wayne Palmer, but 31 points back. It's quite a gap to have already in the championship. Philip Russell is the next one behind those guys in 5th. When it comes to the teams championships, well, look at that. Alcantech NHR by Nyman Racing, top of the pile ahead of WOSR Club. World of Sim Racing team are 3rd ahead of Flemish Sim Sports Viraco, and then Sim Stickers Racing. And to be fair, Ed, we already have to go to the grid here because the guys have cracked on with this one, and it looks to me like we're going to get a race straight away. So here we go. Iker Estefania on pole position, Jerome Lamy alongside him. Then it's Ivan Maynard, Niels van der Kokelt, Mattis Martinsen and Carles Alvarez, Carlos Garcia and Brian Loynes, Kevin Zemstra and Bart Daleman, with Ben Hoffman in 11th. Then it's Carl Newen in 12th at the top of the consistency class, with Paul Godden and Adam Osiawala on row 7. Philip Russell and Wayne Palmer next up, with Tim Rutten and Martin Deckens on row 9. Hans Polmans and Jakub Szymanski round out your 20, with Mattis Groen in 21st. Who have you got your eye on, Ed?
Well, obviously, championship leader Bart Daleman had his lead diminished quite substantially after the last round of racing at Imola. We're going to see what he can do from 10th place. Let's go, Chaz. It's going to get started.
Here we go then. Iker Estefania will lead the field away. 16 laps of Donington gets underway, and look at that. Jerome Lamy moves over to the right-hand side straight away to cover off from Ivan Maynard, but all of the silhouettes pile down towards us, and it looks like a very tidy start, at least at the front. Wayne Palmer's lost a bunch of places. There's a car sideways in the middle of the pack. Looks like Ben Hoffman's lost a bit of ground in all of that as well. Adam Osiawala's off. Adam Osiawala is off, and Philip Russell dipped in and out for a second there. A little bit of argy-bargy at the back. We'll have a look back through it. Oh no, Carl Newen drops it from the lead of consistency. And all of a sudden, that goes to pot for him. That means Paul Godden now leads that class. He's got the go for the gap racing car. Philip Russell behind him is off in front. Ben Hoffman has a moment. Lively first lap so far, Ed, but this is what you expect at Donington. It's a tricky place to get it right.
Yeah, and especially the first few laps, these are going to be really testing for the drivers on cold tyres. They need to take a few laps to bed them in, get them absolutely planted before they can really start to push the limits. And we're already seeing Iker Estefania caught out through Roberts, the chicane here, and now in towards Redgate for the first time in anger, shall we say, at first place. Jerome Lamy looking right the way around the outside. He's going to be forced to have a little bit of a opposite lock moment to try and regain control of the car, picking up the throttle a little bit too early, and Iker Estefania holds on just by the skin of his teeth to first place.
He does indeed, and right behind his teammate Ivan Maynard is having to defend from Niels van der Kokelt in 4th position. He's pushing very hard indeed. Looks to the left-hand side before they go up to McLean's. Nothing doing there this time. Carl Newen has dropped it again, unfortunately, during this lap. We stay with Niles looking down the inside. Oh, a bit of a wobble on the way in through to Coppice, and, well, Maynard has to get out of it. Carlos Alvarez comes out, and Jerome Lamy is off the road. Well, we saw him pushing the limits at Belle Isle. There's no walls for him to run into here, though, Ed.
No, definitely not, but he's found the grass, and there we go. Van der Kokelt dropping back in behind Carlos Alvarez. World of Sim Racing 1-2 at the moment. Iker Estefania, World of Sim Racing team, World of Sim Racing club with Carlos Alvarez in 2nd place. But look at this, on board with Van der Kokelt, looking down the inside. A little bit optimistic from that far back from Van der Kokelt, but very well played from Alvarez. Left just about a car's width on the apex, not much else. And look at them through the Craner curves, almost touching each other. You can barely fit a cigarette paper between all three of these cars. Now look at them.
Oh.
Whoa, over the inside there, just through the left-hander underneath Starkey's bridge, and now into McLean's. They're still side by side. Chaz van der Kokel, how is he holding on to third place? This is wonderful stuff. Brian Loynes trying the best of it, but no, they've had contact. Brian Loynes gets into the back of van der Kokel, and it's all kicking off in behind as well, Chaz.
Yeah, Brian Loynes off the road. Jerome Lamy's off again. Carlos Garcia's off again. Flipping heck, no one wants to finish this race. Icre Estefani is laughing his head off up at the front. But
Bart Daleman's dropped back as well.
Yeah, I think Bart was involved with the contact with Carlos Garcia up at McLean's. We are going to look back and go straight to the scene of the crime, though, at the start of the race, because Adam Osiowala went off the road, didn't he? Let's have a look back at all of this. So this is Osiowala going off. There's a bit of argy-bargy in front of him. Oh, he's just run wide trying to avoid everybody, hasn't he, at that point. Khan Newen then went off the road at the old hairpin, the other XZ car. Oh, he had to just avoid the car in front of him there. Not easy at all at that speed. And then Jerome Lamy was the next one off. He's just overdone it, I think, at Coppice. Oh, just clips the grass. That, again, is very, very easy to do. Now, this is what happened to Bart Daleman and Carlos Garcia. So there's 3 wide behind them going up the hill. Oh, Garcia. Oh, Garcia gets into the side of him after losing it. And then does Garcia get collected? I hope not. I think he's
the smart thing.
Whoa!
Stays perfectly still, but
that was Jerome Lamy losing it big time. Wow. And then after that,
personally, suspension looks all right.
Yeah, actually, after that sort of hit, you'd expect it to be ruined. Here's Brian Loynes then into the back of Niels van der Kokel. Both cars come off quite badly from that. There's been more dramas as well. Carlos Garcia's been off the road again. Oh, wow, the back of that car is very broken, look. Yeah, so, whoa, his car is very broken compared to Jerome Lamy's car. Niels van der Kokel has stopped again. Oh, man.
And
wow.
Was that onto Wayne Palmer, I think that was. I'm not really sure.
He just drove through the back of Wayne Palmer, didn't he?
That looks like it could have been some sort of, maybe on his screen, the car in front disappeared and then reappeared, and because it was a very, very strange incident there. But throughout all of the carnage, Chaz, World of Sim Racing team, they're making the most of this, aren't they? First, second, and third. Hopefully, for their sakes, a podium lockout with, in behind Ivan Maynard, there's clear space. Kevin Zemstra is around about 3 seconds back.
There is, because there are the top 2. There's Ivan Maynard, and there is Kevin Zemstra with Mattis Martinsen, his teammate. He was watching the Chaz Draycott Media Formula 1 World Championship last night. Was Mattis supporting his teammate Silas Krag-Vrolik, who again failed to win a race. Martin Deckens and Hans Polmans, though, the 2 Belgian superstars for Flemish Sim Sports, both flying once again, but at the moment they've gained 12 places each. Tim Rutten has gained 9 places for his efforts so far through the race. We've got some battling going on here between Mattis Groen for Mamba Simsport and Brian Loynes, who's making time back through the order. Well, there's a lot of shuffling going on at the moment, Ed. If we look at the track map, you can see the different classes at the moment. You see the main field, but 16th, 17th, 18th and 19th, which is Lamy, Russell, Palmer and Garcia, are this little sort of quartet making their way around the circuit as well.
I'm keeping my eyes on Kevin Zemstra. He's gaining time on Ivan Maynard just up the road, and he needs to make the most of Bart Daleman's slow start to this race. He finds himself down in 10th place overall, 6th place in the precision class. So this is a good opportunity for Kevin Zemstra to make up some good points. He's got his teammate in behind who will be acting as a rear gunner, you would imagine, for the remainder of this race. And they are, slowly but surely, Chaz, reeling in those World of Sim Racing Formula 3s just up the road, as the fastest lap of the race has just been set by Jerome Lamy. He's looking to come back after a disappointing start. There's plenty of stories to watch as this race unfolds. Even with all the incidents at the beginning, it's still not over yet for a lot of these drivers.
It really isn't. We'll have to see just what they can manage. But this race, well, we know how quickly these sprint races can fly by us, Ed, but they can certainly be quite a lot of fun for a number of the drivers. As I think Philip Russell has had a problem further down. we are going to have to come back to that in a second because I'm trying to fix something that I've just had go wrong on my overlay. So if you all bear with me, I will try and get it sorted out. I'm sorry. This is just what happens sometimes. Nothing ever is straightforward with me. A lot of people
while
know
Chaz sorts out all the overlays, I'm having a look at some of the recent lap times. Mattis Martinson, that's a bit of a mistake there through McLean's, but lap times, Kevin Zemstra a couple of tenths faster than Ivan Maynard, and actually a good 4 tenths faster than our race leader, Iker Estefania. So we might see a late charge up through the field as Philip Russell, Go for the Gap Racing, started quite promisingly, Chaz, but again, it's just when the car starts to get a little bit grippier, he finds that it over-rotates a little bit on him.
Yeah, it didn't seem to work out too well there, but that's the thing. You can push these cars, excuse me, you can push these cars way too hard over the course of just the opening laps alone. You know, that can really mess up your rhythm and really affect the car. And even if you cook those tyres slightly in the opening laps, that can be all you need to just completely ruin your race, to be honest with you. So looks to me like Philip has just maybe done that in trying to keep the pace up early on. I didn't remember him being involved in any other incidents. Maybe he lost a bit of time because of Carlos Garcia's off, but yeah, I didn't see much else in terms of incidents or anything of the like for him. Do you remember anything?
Nope, not that sticks out at least. There might have been some things that might have snuck through on our event view that didn't quite come up because, to, you know, give SDK a lot of credit, there was plenty of things going on. You can forgive it for missing out on
oh yeah,
an incident here and there. Gap now, I mentioned it was 3 seconds at one point. Now under 2 seconds. The gap 1.9 as they come across the line to start the 10th lap. 6 laps now for Kevin Zemstra to try and find his way up onto the podium. Definitely doable for the Dutchman, but it's going to be a tricky job because the laps around this circuit are so quick.
Yeah, they are. It's a very, very tough circuit to lap around. But the thing is, we've got a hell of a lot of great drivers in this championship. You know, they really do push these cars to the limit, and we love watching them. You know, we're just watching these two Alcantec cars at the moment because they just push it so hard every single lap. You know, they're great fun to watch. And these are guys that were right up there in the championship last season. You know, they were constantly up there fighting for positions. Paul Godden is unfortunately off the road. He's just had a moment of his own, but he manages to get back on.
Another 2 tenths for Kevin Zemstra.
Yeah, it's now down to 8 tenths, isn't it, between those two? Sorry, 1.6, I apologise. It's 8 tenths from Ivan to Carles Alvarez in front of him, actually.
It's an absolute dream start, though, isn't it, to the evening for World of Sim Racing? I mean, 3 cars up inside the top 3 places. You can't really ask for much more than that. It was a shame, of course, for the start that Carlos Garcia had a lot of damage at the beginning of the races. Seen him all the way down in 10th for the precision class, 19th overall. Just watching as well, a lot of the other battles coming through. I think Paul Godden's just got through on Wayne Palmer, the 2 SimStickers racing drivers. I think inverting the positions. I don't know if that was a proper battle on track.
Yeah, I don't think it was. I don't think they've had a fight about it. I think it was maybe with Paul's off earlier. It's, oh, Philip Russell off again. Oh, Philip's having a nightmare here. As, oh, off the road goes Carl Newen. Oh, and big time into the barrier as well. Blocks the pit entrance. You're not going to get that thing going anywhere, can't. Moves it off the road at least. Fair play to him, though. You know, he even considered the fact it might block the pit entries. Oh, he's just overdone it, and then he's hit the end of that wall, which has snapped the suspension on both wheels on the right-hand side. I must say, though, iRacing's damage model is looking very good these days. When the new damage model came out on a bunch of cars, it did look a little bit shoddy in places, didn't it, the way that it worked? But I reckon with more and more updates coming through for it, it looks great.
Yeah, it really is a nice refined system that they have in place, and I mean it looks great for the broadcast as well. There was a few times where the damage still doesn't quite sync up from one client to another, so it can look different from you to me, Chaz, which does make commentary a little bit difficult when we're not seeing the exact same things. But I'll tell you what we can both definitely see is the rate at which Kevin Zemstra has closed in, and now that he's within the slipstream, he's going to reel that time in all the more faster. And all of a sudden, it doesn't look like a chance to get one position. You can see all three of them pretty much nose to tail now, Chaz.
Yeah, they are indeed. This is the battle for third place in the bottom right of your screen. Car 33 and car 88. And to be fair, we could probably even bring in Mr. Martinson in this as well. He is 1.1 seconds off Ivan Maynard. And that will update as they go through the individual sectors. It's fantastic to see them so close together though, isn't it? Doing all of this as they are. It's good fun. And this is the thing, this will not go away either over the course of the season. I love the fact that it's always so close with these guys.
Close, actually, speaking of close, Chaz. Bart Dale and Brian Loynes look like they might be in a bit of a scrap there. I just saw those, my timer software flashing up with orange and reds for a moment, so that was looking a little bit spicy between the pair of them. Daleman just in behind Polmans, and Loynes has dropped back a little bit now, but I'll tell you what, Chaz, a couple seconds ago, he was right up there.
Yeah, it seemed like Bart's made some good progress as Iker Estefania, our race leader, has just had an off here, and look how close the top 5 are now. All of them right together. Tim Rutten has gone into second place in the consistency class, by the way. He passed Hans Polmans not too long ago. Hans, just had a, well, I say just, he's had a big moment around the cleans. But the top 5, well, coming on to lap 15 now, Ed. This is very close together. If we look at the top 5, we can bring them up on the battle box, you know. And there you go. That's what it said last time round, but that's definitely not the case now. We'll have to wait for those times to update. Look at that, 6/10. And then he's only 2.2 seconds ahead of Mattis Martinson. So it is not far at all back to those cars chasing him down.
Yeah, getting closer and closer as well, with the slipstream allowing them all to move up to one another. 1.5 laps remaining for Iker Estefania to try and hold on to this race lead. He has 2 of his teammates in behind that should help see him up until the end, but when you are in the lead, pressure can start to mount and build, and you can find yourself making a mistake late on when it's all starting to come to a head, Chaz. So we're going to have to watch Iker Estefania, see what he can do, but as well, keep an eye open for Kevin Zemstra. He can see that the opportunity to gain on Bart Daleman is presenting itself, as Bart has actually dropped in behind Brian Loynes now, Chaz.
Yeah, Brian Loynes getting ahead of Bart Daleman and Hans Polmans here. So as we go on to the final lap, those two scrapping together. But Iker Estefania holds on at the front here. He started there, and he remains to be there. Mattis Groen has just gone off the track. I'm sure he'll have a bit to groan about after the race. Carles Alvarez started 6th on the grid. He's up to 2nd. Ivan Maynard started 3rd. Kevin Zemstra started 9th. And Mattis Martinson started 5th. So some of these guys have gained places. Some of them have just sat where they are. But here is your race leader for WOSR, World of Sim Racing team. And then we have the 2 WOSR Club cars behind. 3 Spaniards in the top 3, all of them part of the same team. It's a 1-2-3 for WOSR. Fantastic first race of the night for those boys. Alvarez, Estefania, Maynard, Zemstra and Martinson finish the top 5. And Martin Deckens takes another win.
Actually drops back out of first at the end there, Chaz. I think Alvarez just took it.
Why did I not? Yeah. What? Why did I not? Whoa. That's okay. That's an interesting end to the race. Let's go back on this. I thought he looked slow out the last corner.
I think it's a championship decision, you know, because Iker Estefania only has 28 points to his name. Carlos Alvarez has 54. So that looks to me like a decision purely based on the championship.
Intriguing.
Echoes of
Schumacher Barrichello.
Yeah, I was.
Wow, oh wow. Top 3 in consistency is Deckens, Rutten and Polmans. Loynes and Daleman finished 8th and 9th, but your eventual race winner, everybody, then, Carles Alvarez, taking the checkered flag and taking the W. Wow, oh wow. That certainly worked out for them in the end. Now I'm going to, well, apparently open TeamSpeak by accident. But yeah, looking at the championship standings, Alvarez was 5th. And Estefania, like you say, Ed, was down in 10th place. So there was a big difference between the two in the Drivers' Championship coming into tonight. But we'll get the race results up, and we will let you know exactly what the situation is. So let's give you this race result at long last. Sorry, I'm having a nightmare with my SDK tonight. It's nothing wrong with SDK, just I'm having a massive brain fart and can't use the thing. Carlos Alvarez takes the win then. Iker Estefania finishes in 2nd place with Ivan Maynard in 3rd. Then it's Kevin Zemstra in 4th ahead of Mattis Martinson. 2 Alcantec cars in the top 5. Martin Deckens wins the consistency class ahead of Tim Rutten. Brian Loynes and Bart Daleman finish a race-long battle in 8th and 9th ahead of Hans Polmans. Then it's Ben Hoffman in 11th place, Matisse Groen in 12th, Jerome Lamy is 13th with Adam Ossioala 14th, Paul Godden 15th with Wayne Palmer and Philip Russell behind. They were the last cars on the lead lap as Carlos Garcia finishes 18th with Khan Newen 5 laps down. Niels van der Kokel out of the race as well, and Jakub Szymanski unfortunately not able to drive this evening. He was in the earlier sessions, but he just did not take to the starts. Well, big drama already there, Ed. I mean, fantastic stuff for the consistency class winners. Martin Deckens and Tim Rutten, 12 and 10 places gained respectively, but at the very front, big changes right at the end there.
Yeah, definitely, and it was the team game being played by Iker Estefania, who could have taken the opportunity to seize his first race victory of the season, but graciously gave it to Carlos Alvarez and allowed him to keep a championship fight back on the cards, especially with Bart Daleman having a poor end to that first race, all the way down in 7th in the precision class. Means that the championship is blown wide open, with Zemstra finishing up in 4th, gaining some good points, gaining ground up to the member Simsport, last season's champion. And you know what? With the feature race fast approaching, I can't wait for it to get started.
No, indeed. It's certainly been a great start to the evening. Apologies for any issues with my internet there, actually. I was having a bit of a blip in and out for a couple of seconds. It seems all right now. We just dropped a number of frames as that bit went on. But yeah, this is certainly accelerating into a very, very exciting championship once again, because previously in the series, you know, there's been a championship fight, but there's only been 1 or 2 cars involved when it comes to the real crunch time. But at this point, it's so close between everybody, and with this format as well, it's looking very, very exciting. I'm looking forward to the second race of the night, though, but we do have to, of course, deal with qualifying first, which makes the second race a bit interesting. Based on the pace you saw there, Ed, is there anybody you reckon that we could see taking the pole position here, or do you reckon it's not very obvious?
Well, Zemstra was lapping very quickly, wasn't he? And as well, Jerome Lamy, let's not forget a few purple times coming through from the year 1 driver, but we saw at the start of the race, he struggles with the cold tyres, so it's going to be interesting. Drivers might be able to qualify well, but qualifying only does so much for you, and in these feature races, it's all down to racecraft, especially on fast-flowing circuits where one mistake can cost you a huge amount here at Donington Park.
It can indeed. Porsche Sport asking if we can see the Porsche yet. Well, let me try and do this for you. There you go. There she is. Look at it. Look at it. Just for you. That is our wonderful Porsche pace car, or safety car, I should say. What I always do, actually, simply just because I know that Porsche Sport support my channel and my streams so much, I always make sure that I choose the iRacing Porsche safety car whenever I get a chance to use one or pick one. But either way, that is all we've got time for the first race. But in the meantime, Ed and I will get ready for the second race of the night. We will see you when I fade the music out, because that needs to happen for us to go to adverts. This is a full disclosure stream, by the way. I'm going to tell you everything that I'm doing, because right now I'm having an absolute nightmare of a stream tonight. I'm stressed about my flight in the morning. We'll see you in a few after some very brief adverts. Catch you in a minute.
Opportunistic, still rubbing panels as they go together. It's folded the wing mirror in on Gerardo's car. Misano is such a difficult circuit for these guys to get right. There's a lot of start-stop sections around the back. It's a very, very quick section as well.
It's a fantastic start from the 23. They're 4 wide there by the look of it.
Hello again, everybody. Chaz, Draycott and Ed May here for round 4 of the NEVO SimStickers Formula 3 Championship. We're here at the wonderful Donington Park, back from a quick break and into the second session of the evening. We had a very exciting first race, decided by a move on the line between teammates and some big hitters early on, losing out like, well, Niels van der Kokel for one of them. Certainly was an exciting first race of the night though, Ed, but it's exactly what we expected, isn't it? I mean, we sort of hate to say I told you so, but we did say to everybody at the start this would be a very, very dramatic evening.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the biggest dramas was, of course, championship leader Bart Daleman having an absolutely torrid time, didn't he? All the way down the order in the precision class, losing out to his main championship rival Kevin Zemstra, who finished a couple positions ahead of him, and as well with World of Sim Racing team making it a 1-2-3, locking out the podium, blows the championship wide open. With the feature race qualifying is the order of the day. Drivers going to the end of their practice session to get acclimatized to the track conditions will now go up there, and it'll be a battle just against the stop clock, and that will tell the grid for the feature race. That will be, how many laps will it be, Chaz? Trying to work it out, figuring it out.
I think it'll be
41 laps.
Yeah, that's gonna feel like a long time around Donington Park, to be honest with you, but it's going to be very, very interesting to see how the tyres last around here, because obviously with it being such a high-speed circuit as well, the guys are going to maybe struggle a little bit with keeping the tyre life in them all the way through. What do you reckon?
I mean, I'm just trying to think now in terms of... I was just racking my brain, sorry, Chaz. In terms of tyres, I mean... You do spend it does take a while to change a full set in these Formula 3s, so you'd have to grin and bear it, really. Take it till the end. They will not feel at all nice to be driving, I could assure you that. They will feel absolutely awful, and you'll be sliding the rears like nobody's business. But the track conditions, the track conditions aren't that great either. 30 degrees, 19-degree air temperature, though, means that it will start to get a little bit cooler. Look at this, though. Carlos Alvarez really doing his best to warm them up, isn't he? All the way down towards the final chicane. Snaps on the loud pedal now, and he's going to try and set his first flying lap now.
He is indeed. That was very aggressive weaving, wasn't it, from the Spaniard? We see the times coming in along the bottom. Green is their personal best. I believe I've got it set to yellow, is basically no improvement in that sector. And obviously purple is fastest. Now look at these guys really hanging the back end of that car out around there. We saw one of the SimStickers guys doing that. I think that might have been Daniele Giudici. It was. Great to see Daniele back in the championship as well. He makes his welcome return. I don't think we saw much of him in the first race. Was he in the first race? I think he's only in this one, is he not?
I can't remember seeing him. I mean, apologies if we missed you, Daniel.
Yeah, I think he faded into the background a little bit there.
I can't remember him. I'm gonna have to watch the broadcast back now, just to see if he actually was there or not, because I don't remember him being there at all.
That's it, definitely. Well, we certainly have enjoyed the first encounter of the evening, let's call it. We now see the times coming in, and up to the top of that pile goes Carlos Garcia by just a tenth of a second to Kevin Zemstra. There was a car stopped at the side of the road there. I think it was Jerome Lamy. Jerome, well, he's certainly he's making an impression, isn't he, on us two so far, Ed? He's very, very fast and very exciting, but very accident-prone, it has to be said.
It's always on the corner exit, which tells us that he's pushing the car to its absolute limits, and then just a little bit more. If he was to back off maybe a touch on the throttle coming out of the corners, he'd be really up there, Chaz. I mean, some of the laps he was putting in the race were absolutely storming. It's just finding that limit and then overstepping it, I think, is where he's having the issues tonight.
Yeah, definitely. And, I mean, we saw at Belle Isle that he was right on the limit as well. You know, he was so close to the walls every time. And, well, to the point where he was damaging the car, effectively, in the early stages. But look at that, 7 thousandths, 37 thousandths between the top three here at the moment in qualifying. But it is Bart Daleman, championship leader, that goes to the top with a 59.3. So it's not even a minute around here for these guys. Hans Polmans is currently fastest in the consistency class. Daniele Giudici goes 10th fastest overall, second in class. Matisse Groen is currently third. We wait, though, to see what's Martin Decken's got in the tank. There you go. Pole position in class. Only a couple of thousandths, though, faster than his teammate Hans Polmans. And we know that Martin Deckens is probably on pace, the guy to beat in the Consistency Championship. As Paul Godden has gone in the wall. Let's have a look here, Ed.
And that was just lit up the rears, stamped on the loud pedal, realised he lost control, and I think just kept it going, resigned himself to the fate which was the wall fast approaching. Daleman and Garcia that time very close together in terms of the times. Daleman 10th and a bit quicker. Zemstra's not been able to match the sort of, I guess, acceleration of pace that Art Daleman has had from the start of qualifying up until now. Lamy gets himself up into the timing sheets now with the 4th fastest time, but again, the tie's not quite into the optimum place for him yet.
Wow.
We'll start to see that go through. Martin Deckens.
Deckens for precision. That's going to be the hashtag.
That's the thing. He doesn't make a good case for him to stay in consistency with lap times like that in qualifying, does he?
No, definitely not. Absolutely decimates the competition as whoa, Philip Russell. Well, he's an off-circuit superstar right now as he runs wide through the old hairpin. It's so easy to do that, though, because down here you're going so quickly. And is he just going to clip the grass? Yeah, look at that. So easy to do. You try and get as far over as you can. It's a lovely 360, though, I must say, Phil. Tim Rutten. Wow, Tim Rutten goes fastest in the consistency class. Look at that, at 59.3. Only 2/10 off pole position here by Bart Daleman in the precision class. That's brilliant. Ben Hoffman's cutting some of the grass for Jonathan Palmer. But Tim Rutten, what a lap that is. Estefania goes 13th fastest. But look how close it is, Ed. Not even half a second covering the top 13.
You've got to be careful, though, cutting the grass. You do find yourself getting an itemised bill from Mr. Palmer himself for grass maintenance if you do exceed track limits a little bit too much. He's very, very... takes good pride in his circuits, doesn't he? His various Motorsport UK venues across the country. Martinson, second fastest, but Bart Daleman, he isn't going to abide by that being 1/10. He wants it to be 2/10 and does exactly that with a 59.006. Can he dip it now into the 58s? Let's go on board, shall we, through the crane of curves and now in towards Old Hairpin, a corner that looks tighter than it actually is. Send it through K momentum. Beautifully done. You can see a little bit of oversteer. I think he's got that perfectly nailed down on track limits, you know, Chaz. It was right on the verge of what is acceptable and what isn't. Now aiming for the late apex through McLean's, which he gets, carries the momentum now up through Coppers, which is a tricky corner at the best of times, but even more so when you have to sling it through high downforce, trusting the car, trusting the rear to stay with you over the elevation change, but the car can get very light. And now into the final chicane. How brave do you want to be? Chuck it in. Be careful of the cuts on the inside, the red anti-cut curves, and he's just been able to keep it within the confines of the circuit. No improvements, though, across the board for Bart Daleman, although it looked like he was wringing the neck of that F3 car.
Unbelievable lap time as well, to be fair, despite the little wobbles here and there. But a 59.33 would have put him down right near the back of the class, actually. A 59.33 now would have put him, what, 11th overall? Carlos Garcia's just gone second fastest as well, only a few thousandths ahead of Van der Kokelt, who's then only a few thousandths ahead of Lamy. Alvarez goes up to 5th. Loins is now improved to 8th. Lamy goes 2nd. Zemstra goes 5th. This is unbelievable. I've never seen the times change so quickly, but with a lap being so short around here in 20 minutes, they've got so many laps that they could do. We're not even halfway through the session yet, mate.
Well, this is brilliant. Can we do this more often? Can we just have all qualifying sessions at Donington Park this very for the foreseeable future? Because this is wonderful. This is how qualifying should be. You see times change every single moment. It's Tim Rutten slinging the rear out. Wow, take a bow, son. That was brilliant. It's not going to help his time at all, but just lightning on it. Look at that. You can see him moving in the cockpit, trying to regain control. Arms working furiously.
Oh, that is a good save. That is a very, very good save. We are unfortunately dropping a bunch of frames now. I'm not sure why. Maybe Beth's turned Netflix on upstairs. Not quite sure. But we are dropping a bunch of frames at the moment, and I am aware, but unfortunately unable to do anything about it as of this moment in time. So please do bear with it. It will come back. But yes, what an amazing session we are having so far here, Ed. So much going on. Some great driving by everybody, but we can just see them all absolutely wringing the neck of these cars with how difficult this circuit is, how fast it is. Great, great entertainment to watch, even just watching the guys do some laps.
Yeah, I mean, it makes it difficult for us as commentators to pinpoint who's on a fast lap, who isn't, because there's so many drivers doing so many laps, coming very quickly. But Damon drops into the pits and decides to go for a fresh pair of boots for the final 10 minutes of qualifying. I'd expect many of the other drivers opting to follow suit, because in qualifying you are really on the limits of adhesion and you do burn through the rubber very quickly indeed. Garcia is now not able to improve, same with Lamy, I believe. Bart Delman now on pit exit, so his first few times won't be setting the sheets alight, but definitely will be coming up soon. As look at that from Lamy now, sets down the benchmark to Bart Delman to chase. I think it's been the first time this entire qualifying session where Bart Delman has not been on provisional pole position. It's been taken by this man. I said, Chaz, didn't I, that if he can just keep it in the white lines, he's got the pace there, just needs to back it off a touch, and the time will come. And now he's in the prime spot. But I mean, the first two rows separated by just about 1/10 of a second. That's madness.
Yeah, indeed. Absolute madness. Very, very quick. But really, really good to see as well. The first driver to go under the 59 mark. And, oh, look how close Garcia gets there. 59.005. And he's 1,000th, as you say, Ed, ahead of Bart Delman. Not even half a tenth of a second separates the top four at the moment. Deckens is fastest once again in his class. As it won't let me click on anything. There we go. Yeah, he is currently fastest in consistency with a 59.247. Then it's Rutten, Russell, Groen, Palmer, Hans Polman's in 17th. He's just moved up a position, actually, with that improvement. We've got Mattis Martinsen off the road. Oh, I don't know where to look. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's astonishing how quickly things change as we just come to see Kevin Zemstra off the road and a World Sim Racing car following him through. Iker Stefani, that was the driver who gave up his chance for a first race victory, didn't he, in the first of the two races here at Donington Park, to allow his teammate a little bit of a closing gap in this championship. I mean, it just changed very quickly, Chaz. Going back to what I was saying earlier, I said that the top four are separated by about 1/10 of a second, and then 10 seconds later it became half a tenth as Lamy improves on his time yet again. Not just underneath the 59, comfortably under the 59 now with 58.848.
Incredible.
And Bart Delman will hate to hear that.
Yeah, especially as he's now tied with Carlos Garcia for second place. But I think because Carlos set the time first, he stays ahead of Bart right now.
Carlos was 1/10 quicker, I think. Or are they tied? No, they are tied exactly. So wait, Delman only improved by 1,000th.
Yeah, must have done. Insane. But that's how close it is. That's just how it is now. Ben Hoffman was off the road. No, he wasn't. It was Tim Rutten. It was off the road. So many cars going off track, by the way. So many cars going off track. Everybody's pushing so hard. This is how easy it is to do in a Formula 3 car. Unsettle it that little bit, clip the gravel, and you are off on a ride. And does he... Oh, he does hit the wall, actually, but doesn't seem to damage the left rear long term. It seemed to damage it momentarily, didn't it? And then suddenly it fixed itself again, as is the iRacing damage model. But wow.
Yeah, we praised it 1 minute, and then the next minute it does sound like that.
Yeah. That's just it.
That's typical for us, isn't it?
Oh, hello.
Whoa.
Oh, that's a big old hit. That was Daniele Giudici in the barrier.
And that is why we then praise the damage model, because...
That looked sick. Bang! Completely rips the rear end off. Yes, you can't quite see the wheel tethers, but yeah, that was...
That'd be a nightmare to render, to be fair to him.
Oh, God, yeah, it would. And you know... With something that moves around that much, can you imagine the polygons that would just have flying through the sky and all of the bits that would just like stretch out and maybe take down the little virtual aircraft that flies over this airfield or this race
dropping frames, Chaz. It'd be down to a slideshow, I think. There.
Oh yeah, definitely would be. Either way, qualifying continues. We're not seeing many personal bests now. If you look at the bottom, Brian Loynes actually, he shuts me up, goes into 6th position. But look, a lot of the sectors, get your words out, Chaz. Doesn't bode well for my weekend, does it? Away commentating in France when I can't even speak English. But at the moment, it's all yellow little graphics at the bottom, except for Adam Osceola, who likes to shut me up as well. He remains in 21st, though, at the moment. Now, he's bottom of the times, but there's only a second and a half separating the whole field. Carn Newen is on a good one by the look of it. No improvement in the final sector, but an improvement in both of the others, but it seems like he
time coming through, invalidated. I think that might have been through old hairpin. It's so easily done, Chaz, through that corner, because you want to push the limits, especially on the run into the corner. Turning in early helps you to no end, but of course, if you take the mickey on track limits, you're not going to get a valid lap coming through.
No, you're not. Brian Loynes, he's improved a little bit. Oh, Carn Newen has a blip in and out there for just a second, or was it me? I'm not sure.
No, that was also for me as well.
Whoa, good slide, good save. Brian Loynes goes second fastest to 58.981. What a time that is. Brilliant to see, but you've got to give it to Jerome Lamy. He is absolutely nailing this at the moment. I mean, he's doing some wonderful weaving here to get some temperature in those tyres. Round the final chicane he goes.
There we go. Daleman now up into 2nd place, up into the 58s. But that time from Loynes is brilliant. He's really a man on form, isn't he, Chaz? After taking his first race victory of the season, you know, he's really on form.
Definitely is. Definitely is. And to be fair, it's a shame we've not had Jerome the whole season, isn't it? Because we saw how exciting he was at Belle Isle, and we want more of that. And it's good to have him back on the grid here for Donington Park, because I reckon around here, especially, if he can keep this sort of pace up, it's going to be mega. It's just, we've seen how small the margins are, haven't we? He made the mistake in race 1 and dropped right down. Let's just hope for his sake he doesn't do that again.
Yeah, you mentioned exactly the thing I was about to bring up as well. He's quick, but can he do it consistently over a race, a distance? Those mistakes that we saw in the first race could be worrying, as Bart Daleman goes fastest with a 58.827.
And then throws it off the road for good measure, but... Oh, Jerome
is back in stunning fashion. What a lap that is!
Wow, we didn't think we'd see people going under the 58s, or well, under the 59s, but my goodness me, 58.645 by Jerome Lamy. What a lad! What a lad! That is a hell of a time. We saw him weaving, we saw him getting the temperature in the tyres. Now he's going to fly it into the wall. My good God, that is a terrifying accident. I mean, I know I'm laughing, but we know it's the sim. We know he's probably all right, but. Good Lord, what an amazing, amazing lap that is. Let's just see this in slow-mo again, just because I think that looked incredible. Now, we don't like seeing accidents, but we know that this is obviously sim racing, so, yeah, we'll see. But look at that. Boom! That is a hell of an impact, isn't it? Look at that. Body parts everywhere. That car-wise, not human-wise. Your rear wing goes for a little... rear wing goes for a little bit of a trip across the road as well. It's like, oh, I'm off over here. I'll see you in a bit, boys. But yeah, big hit for Jerome, but I don't think he's got much to worry about now. No, that lap time is not one that's going to get beat, I don't think.
I can tell you from experience, Chaz, when you set a lap time like that in qualifying, it feels good. And you can decide, right, that's it for me. I'm not going to beat it. That's probably the fastest time he's done all evening long, across all practice sessions, across all runs through. The lap just seemed to click for him and Bart Daleman. That's got to be so disheartening for him as well. Let's not forget, he seemed to have finally snatched back pole position, didn't he? We were getting excited. We thought, here we go, Bart Daleman's got an answer. And then when Jerome Lamy does that, I mean, Bart Daleman, I don't know if he's going to be coming back out. You know, he's into the pits and he might be settling for 2nd place, you know, and deciding to figure out how he's going to approach the race, maybe think of different strategies to come up with, because for my money, there's no one that can beat that time from Jerome Lamy. No one.
No, I don't think so. I really don't think we're going to see that move, to be fair. We've got Carn Newen and Wayne Palmer off the road. There's so many cars going off the road, look. It's like the sound of music, as Charlie Cox would say. It's wonderful. But, Alex Johnson saying Niles coming in hot here. He said, never mind, in the chat. But Niles is pushing hard here. It's 3/10 though that he's got to make up here, Ed. That's surely not easy to make up around here, considering it's such a high-speed track.
Yeah, and I mean, ooh, as we see, that was a very big save, wasn't it, from Van Kokelp? That will, of course, hamper not only the lap he was just on, but also the next lap from a poor exit and a poor run down in towards Redgate. So he's probably going to back off a little bit, try and get those tyres back into the optimum temperature. You can see not really pushing the car whatsoever. He will have one final lap time, I believe, Chaz, because when the checkered flag falls, I believe the drivers can finish the lap they are on.
Yeah, I think they can. We're not in a heat format, like you say, so the session doesn't end and instantly kick them all out. They do get the chance to at least complete the ones that they go on to, but yeah, that's amazing by Jerome Lamy. I still can't get over it, to be honest. Still cannot get over it. Amazing lap. I mean, we thought that Bart Daleman, as soon as he put that time up, we thought that was it. And wow, look at that there as well from Mattis Martinsen. Beautiful slide through the final corner. I don't think he's improved on his time. It's a 59.2. Still 0.6 off the top of the board, but wow, incredible stuff. Throws it around at the final corner, or the first corner, I should say, for good measure. Paul Godden is off the road again. Honestly, these guys are just sort of trying to... It's like they're trying to find a four-leaf clover or something, aren't they, Ed? It's what they need to beat Jerome.
Absolutely. Look at this. A big slide. Is he going to catch it? No, not quite. Styles it out with a lovely 360 and then parks it on the exit of McLean's. Very few drivers actually out on circuit now.
I tell you what, it's incredible how slippery the circuit is. Osiwala improves, but unfortunately for him, it is not an improvement that moves him up the order. Iker Estefania has decided to park it. Daniele Giudici has finished his lap. Tim Rutten, I think, is the only one on the lap now. Carlos Garcia is not improving. Tim Rutten is not improving.
Garcia did improve in the middle sector, but I think that might have been with an off track from the looks of things. We'll see it though as he comes up to the line. I wouldn't imagine an improvement though from the driver in third place. You see Tim Rutten come through. I mean, he was very aggressive though through that final chicane. You might prove me wrong here, Chaz, you know. Comes up to the line, but no.
Oh,
he does improve.
It does, yeah. 58.8. But still, just not enough to move up the order there, unfortunately, for Carlos Garcia. So Jerome Lamy takes an incredible pole position with an unbelievable lap. Absolutely unbelievable lap. Daniele Giudici is the final car on circuit. And I don't think he is improving at this point. I think he's just getting a bit of airtime. He's good old Daniele. Our good mate. He's a wonderful, wonderful guy. Very funny. And does an incredible job at what he does. And oh, well, hello. He actually partnered me in the VMO Touring Car UK Championship last season on R Factor 2. We were both driving Honda Civics together, and he was racing for Sim Stickers, and it was hilarious fun. Anyway, we must digress, or stop digressing, because now we have a race to do. Jerome Lamy takes pole position alongside Bart Daleman. Great to see these guys going head-to-head once again. Carlos Garcia and Niels van der Kokelp make up row 2, ahead of Brian Loynes and Ivan Maynard. Mattis Martinsen and his Alcantech teammate Kevin Zemstra make up row 4. Martin Deckens leads the consistency drivers in 9th, with Carles Alvarez in 10th. Ben Hoffman is 11th, with Tim Rutten alongside him. Then it's Hans Polmans and Iker Estefania. Iker will be hoping to move forward after that qualifying. Philip Russell is 15th, with Daniele Giudici in 16th. Matisse Groen and Wayne Palmer make up the next row of the grid. Then it's Paul Godden and Khan Newen rounding out the top 20, with Adam Osiowala in 21st place. So the grid is taking shape. There's a flight taking off just over the circuit as well. And Donington Park is... Well, I was going to say Donington Park is ready, but I don't think anybody's quite ready other than the drivers right now, Ed. I'm not sure what to expect out of this one. We've got a lot of laps to do. What do you reckon here? Do you think Jerome can hold on around this sort of circuit?
I can tell you, Chaz, after a lap like that in qualifying, Jerome is going to be fired up, and it will take a lot of work for Bart Daleman or someone else to try and take away this first place from him. I mean, it was a stunning lap, but can he turn the dominance of qualifying into victory here? Don't forget as well, Brian Loynes showed good pace in qualifying, and we know what a good consistent driver he is, good racecraft as well. I wouldn't expect him to be down as low as 5th place by the end of this race. I could definitely see a podium in the offing for the 92 car there.
Well, only one car left to make its way onto the grid, and that is Carlos Garcia, and there he is. You can see a bit of weaving while staying still there by Niels van der Koker, which is an achievement in itself. But the next race in the championship, and one of the long ones, is underway at Donington Park. Now the wheel spin begins. Everybody fans out. Looks like a good start from just about everybody in the top 7 or 8. Looks like Kevin Zemstra didn't quite get the cleanest getaway. Jerome Lamy moves across to try and cover off from Bart Daleman. It works. There's a car off.
Lamy's off.
He was. Garcia was off as well. I think Lamy got away with it, though. He just clipped the gravel, didn't he, on the exit, but did a good job not to let the car go too wide out on the outside there. We've got cars off and around. Kevin Zemstra's flying off the road. Almost ends up at East Midlands Airport. Gets back on. Whoa, 2 Year 1 cars go by him. But Jerome Lamy, clean start so far, it has to be said. Him and Bart Daleman have 8/10 over Brian Loynes.
Yeah, Brian Loynes had a brilliant start, didn't he? Already up 2 places from the start of the race. Carlos Garcia and Ivan Maynard, on the other hand, have not had the start that they were hoping for whatsoever. Carlos down 4, Ivan down by 2. As they make their way down towards the chicane. For the first time, cold tyres, a very tricky corner at the best of times, but even more so when you've got cars, you know, a couple of tenths in front, a couple of tenths behind. You've got a lack of downforce, lack of just pure tyre grip as well. But the first lap in the books, Jerome Lamy's into the lead as Carlos Alvarez slings it down the inside of Ivan Maynard. His teammate gives him plenty of space and has a chance to maybe fight on the exit of Redgate, but chooses not to as they make their way down through the Craner curves. Further back, you can see Carl Newen ahead of Adam Osiwala and Paul Godden for SimStickers Racing. Down
Paul
from
just
the
lost
start as well.
Paul just lost the 2 places there as they came out of the first couple of corners. Osiwala's just gone off the road, and Palmer, sorry, not Palmer, I'm thinking of Wayne Palmer, he's just ahead of them. Paul Godden gets through. Kevin Zemstra's lost another couple of places here, you know. Now, we have known Kevin before to have issues with cramp in his left leg. He's had a lot of cramping issues in his calf. So sometimes he's been finishing these races and his entire leg has been cramping up, and it's been very difficult for him to drive and brake, which obviously is very important in cars like this. And I think he might already be having trouble with it, because in anywhere where he's having to brake hard, he's having a bit of a moment. This looks like a bit of a moment right now, though. Jerome Lamy, as we look back at Bart Daleman, is being chased very hard indeed. This is certainly looking like an interesting battle for the ages. Matthias Groen has gone off the road a little bit further down the order. So something has happened to the Dutchman. And he's recovered. I think it's maybe just a little off at turn 1. And here's a replay, Ed.
So work down the inside. The car looks for it, but it just throws Matthias Groen off his line, doesn't he? And into the gravel. It was Groen, and that's how we saw him drop all the way back down to last place. Ivan Maynard with a good little tussle between himself and Ben Hoffman. Down the inside into the final chicane, and that isn't fought too hard, is it? Alvarez instead focusing on the exit and getting a very good run of it. Bart Daleman's getting a good run as well on Jerome Lamy. Closing that gap down now, a 10th, 8 up from the gap. And now down through the Craner curves, here we go on board with Bart Daleman. Keeping it tight through the left-hander, trying to open out Old Hairpin as best as he can, but the dirty air makes it very difficult to follow through here, Chaz. He's doing a very good job of it though, is Bart, and you know what, if you can get a very nice run out of Coppice, the move could be on. But then just you can see the dirty air really paying into effect there. It can't carry the momentum that Jerome Lamy can.
No, you could hear the scrub of the front tyres as well. Look at him using every single inch of the road, trying everything he can. Tries to go later on the brakes, closes in down through the gears, tries to stick with him through here, but look, he's pushed it too hard. And this is I mean, no offence to Bart, but this is the wonderful thing we're seeing. You know, Bart has got such a challenger as, off in the background, Carlos Alvarez. Bart's got such a wonderful challenger in the form of Jerome Lamy. Bart loves it, you know, he loves the fight. So he's really grateful to have Jerome on the grid and other drivers that can push him. But being honest, and no disrespect to any others that have come close, other than the likes of when we've seen, I don't know, maybe Adrian Falcon in previous seasons, original champion of this championship twice, Christophe Herbigno. You know, since those drivers, we've not seen anybody that can really push Bart in the same way. And right now, Jerome Lamy is, for me, one of the real stars of this series. He's been intermittent in his appearances, but still very exciting to watch. And it is wonderful to see this sort of pace up front.
So Jerome Lamy, he'll be very glad to see Bart Dowman make that little mistake. Takes the pressure off him somewhat. But he knows, as we all do, that he'll be right back up there to fight again. And actually, it might not be that good news for Jerome Lamy because Bart Dowman's dropped back. He's giving more slipstream now to Brian Loynes. He's going to bring not just himself into the fight, but potentially those 3 cars in behind as well.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, there's potential for these battles to close up a lot here. You know, there's a lot of movement up and down the order in this championship. We always see it shuffle, and we never know how it's going to be when they come to the line. But yeah, some of these battles really closing in on one another and then starting to spread out again very, very quickly. Martin Deckens, by the way, is in 6th place. He's currently leading the consistency class. Just saw Ben Hoffman have an absolute mighty moment through McLean's. Watch this for a moment.
Whoa.
It doesn't look like that much from there, actually, but I tell you what, if we watch this and we go back to Martin Deckens, just keep your eye out for the year 1 car in the background now when this shot changes.
Oh.
that looked like it's going to take a couple of stitches out your overalls, doesn't it? Flipping heck. What a moment by Ben Hoffman. Right, Brian Loynes is having to defend pretty hard here. He's certainly got his mirrors full, and it is Niels van der Kokelt that is right behind him. Niels won the very first race in the championship this season at Sebring, and he's hoping to try and grab another win because he can see that Bart Daleman and Jerome Lamy are not too far ahead. One thing that we have to talk about as well, Ed, I mean, we alluded to it slightly during qualifying that the laps are short here, but because of how high speed it is and how, I'm not going to say easy it can be to drive, but how simple it can be to get the car around a circuit like this that's this short, it means that everybody's pace is closer together, so the race doesn't usually spread out as much around here as, whoa, speaking of spreading out, boys, Niels van der Kokelt pushing hard.
I mean, they're all pushing hard, aren't they, Chaz, at this stage? They need to try and get themselves in the best possible position at the first round of pit stops to make the most of the strategy that they're going to try and unfold. Some drivers might opt to have their shorter stop at the first time of asking. Others will obviously leave it right up until the end. I'm having a look through, though, and I'm wondering what Bart Daleman's going to be doing. Is he able to save fuel in behind Jerome Lamy? Well, Lamy's up in front, punching a nice clean hole in the air for Bart to follow, while Bart does have to worry about his tyres getting a little bit hotter and scrubbing that a little bit more. As you see, that was actually, I think, a rear-end slide just coming out of Coppice. Almost on cue as we talk about the tyre worries that Bart Daleman might have. Is that going to offset the amount of fuel he's able to save when we come to the round of pit stops?
Yeah, there is potential for it. There's not a massive amount of slipstream as Mattis Martinsen has gone off the road. He's just had a big
very careful with the rejoin.
He does. Bart Daleman does a 58.8. Very, very quick time. And look at this. That's fair play to Mattis Martinsen. He's taking his time with that rejoin. Taking it nice and steady. Oh, the car just clips the curb and bounces and around it goes, and he's very lucky not to get caught out by somebody else there, isn't he?
That might have been Martin Deckens, I think. That was so close to contact there. And let's not forget Martin Deckens, currently leading the consistency class. We've been focusing a lot on the pro class fight for the lead because it's been ever so close. But this man, Martin Deckens, the 127, I mean, doesn't help himself, does he, much for his campaign to stay in the consistency class. He is driving up on pace with some of the pro drivers. I wonder if we will see him moved up, at least probably almost certainly for next season. I don't think, as we're up to the 4th round, Chaz, I don't think we're going to be seeing him moved up before the end of this season, but definitely for future seasons we should be seeing Martin Deckens moved up to pro.
Yeah, I'd imagine we would at some point. He's been absolutely brilliant so far, to be fair. Tim Rutten's just had a moment and then come in the pits off the back of it. He was 3rd in consistency during this race so far, and he's going to put it in the wall. I think he tries to just shoot back across the road as quickly as he can. Nice timing, and then go straight into the pits to try and get that damage repaired. And Paul Godden, whoa, he's going backwards across our screens and back down the order. Let's have a look what happened here. Just clips the gravel. Yeah, we've all seen that before, haven't we? So easy. And again, these are the sort of cars that when they are running wide, they're so hard to sort of catch again and mess with. Oh, Tim Rutten's come straight out of the pits and off the road. But these are cars that you can't really adjust mid-corner, are they, Ed? You know, you sometimes in GT3 cars you can sort of maybe give it a bit more of a tap of the brakes or mess about on the throttle with it just to help rotate the car. In things like this, they're so sensitive to any changes that you'll just loop the thing if you push it too hard, won't it?
Yeah, it's the lightness of these cars. You can't really use the weight and the stability to lean on almost. It's just a very twitchy affair, and if it goes, there isn't really anything getting it back other than just sheer force of will and soaring at the steering wheel, hoping that it'll eventually work out. I mean, that's how I've been able to keep these Formula 3 cars on the straight and narrow, and how I've been able to deal with the Pro Mazda when it starts to go. You just wiggle it a bit and hope that you've wiggled it in the right way. As we see, Jerome Lamy, I mean, he's under a lot of pressure from Bart Delman, but the two of them are still actually building a gap to Brian Loynes in third place, you know.
Yeah, indeed. They are actually making a bit of ground on him, and Niels van der Kokel, he's certainly very close to Brian Loynes as well. Only a tenth or so between the pair of them at this stage in the race. Go on board now with Niels van der Kokel. We were on board with him a little bit earlier, weren't we? And we were thinking, well, he needs to try and get through. As here you go, down the inside into the old hairpin. Look at that. Brian says, nah, I know you're only messing, mate. Cheers for that. Has a couple of tenths over on him. Carlos Alvarez is making his way further up the order, by the way. You might see him go ahead of... Yep, there you go. Mattis Groen for 16th position. But he is certainly a man in need of doing plenty of work during this race to try and help his championship campaign. But great battling up near the front end here, Ed, because sometimes, you know, in open wheel racing, you do often see that in these sorts of cars where they can't follow as well as other cars can, that we've seen all around the world, it can spread out as Niels van der Kokel drops it. It can spread out at the front, but these guys have proved to us that it doesn't always happen that way. Let's have a look what happened here, mate.
Just too much through the corner and gets on the power with one rear tyre out on the dirt.
He's still
there. An imbalance of traction, and yeah, it's difficult to rejoin. He's also completely bent and buckled the front wing.
Yeah, I think in going forward... Oh, wow, as Mattis Groen has had a big off as well. He's managed to recover.
Was that behind? Was that Ossiovala? That was very close to contact there.
Oh, very close indeed. But yeah, it was a shame that for Niels, because he obviously moved the car forward to try and get out of the way, but in doing so, broke the front wing, and that now means he's going to sit in the pits. He was out of the first race tonight, and now he's out of the second race. From what it looks like anyway, he's still sat in the pits, so he could come back out and still try and gain some places and score some points. Right now, though, Jerome Lamy needs to work very hard here because he's got Bart Delman chasing him down. Bart tries to go later on the brakes. Still looking. Look how close they are as they go down the crane of curves now. Jerome on the left-hand side of the circuit. He's going to have the inside for this second bit. Bart's got a slot in behind. There's nothing he can do right now. This is so close. Great racing from the pair of them. You love to see it. 220 Ks as they go up the hill. They'll be flat out all the way up there before they just dab the brakes, turn the car into McLean's. Hard on the throttle again. You get on the throttle really early through McLean's, don't you? Because it goes over a crest. So you've got to sort of prepare yourself for that bit where the car might step out slightly.
Yeah, it's almost a bit strange that you can use the power that can upset the rear balance of the car to actually keep it nice and planted down. Use the ability of the car, the suspension differential, when it hunkers down as soon as you get onto the loud pedal, the rear end drops a little bit, and that can help a lot going through those elevation changes. I mean, there's a lot of it here at Donington Park. The drivers have done enough laps now to finally get their eye in. These two, though, up in front, class of the field by a long way. I mean, Brian Loynes, credit to him. I said he's got a smart head about him. He's already up into third place, trying to hold on to this podium. Got a good gap as well to the car behind. Carlos Garcia 4 seconds back. Sadly, though, he is in a little bit of a race of his own. He hasn't got anyone really to fight with.
No, he's not got much going on around him, has he, to be fair? Iker Estefania and Kevin Zemstra have certainly got a lot going on around them. These two have just swapped places twice with each other, going one way and then the other. Kevin in 10th position as... Oh, no, you said that about Brian Loynes, Ed. He's gone off the road. Oh, Ed has got the most powerful commentator's curse I've ever seen, everybody, and there is more prime example of it, to be honest with you. As Bart Delman comes in, so no fuel saving from him. That's a move that we didn't want to look at. Here's Brian. Oh, he's going to collect the grass, isn't he? Oh, man. That is so easy to do. I mean, look at this. Watch that left rear wheel. That's all it takes. That is all it takes. And he has chucked it off the road. Bart Delman has completed his first pit stop. And there's a few other drivers as well taking their first stops. Hans Polmans, Kevin Zemstra, Brian Loynes now coming in. But Jerome Lamy is now free to go and lead this race. Martin Deckens is close behind Carlos Garcia right now as well, to be fair, Ed. There's so many cars that keep closing in on one another. It's hard to know, even with the pit stops involved in this, where it's all going to sort of fan out at the end. But pit stops just make this already exciting championship even more exciting, don't they?
They really do. I mean, I think we might have seen a little bit of an undercut attempt from Bart Daleman, you know, Chaz. We're going to see where he will come out in relation to Jerome Lamy. As Martin Deckens loops it, actually, on the run into the pit lane, Chaz. I've not seen that in quite some time. It just goes down, gets onto the limiter, and then I think the car just snaps to the right on him.
So have a
I'm not sure if he was taking evasive action.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he just slammed on the brakes. Oh, and he got clouted. Oh, and he's been hit by both of them. Oh, he's been hit by Ben Hoffman and the 33 machine of Ivan Maynard. Unbelievable stuff. Now, they do get a fast repair, but that's obviously taken a while for them to sort out. Oh, my goodness me. Now, Martin Deckens, I'm not sure who you can even... not that I want to blame anybody for it, but I'm not even sure where the blame would lie in that situation. So here is Martin then coming into the pits. We're going to lose him behind the buildings, aren't we? No, so he's hard on the brakes, and he's just too late on the brakes, you know. There's no two ways about it. But then he reverses straight into the path of Hoffman, and then Maynard piles into him as well.
Hoffman himself was carrying a lot of speed in there as well. I think it's...
Yeah, he was.
A lot of them have all contributed, I think, into...
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there was
the
definitely...
pit lane pandemonium that occurred there.
Yeah, indeed. You'd call it the pit-demic, wouldn't you? But that was... very, very scrappy, it has to be said. But like you say, Deckens carried a lot of speed in. I don't think he was going to get it slowed down. Either that or the car in front of him was certainly getting it slowed down a bit too much. But
having a look at it, because if we go back to just for one last time, Chaz, you can see the yellow cones. They're very far back in terms of the run into the pit lane. So I think it was the car in front got onto the pit limiter very early. You can see it here. The car in front gets onto the limiter way before. That white line is not when the limiter comes on. That yellow cone is. Yeah,
that's true. That is true. It's a big impact from Ben Hoffman as well. Very, very big. But yeah, you're right. It is a lot further in than that. So, you know, we always say that when there are pit stops in a race, it's very important to practice your pit entry. But I think, to be fair, I think that the memo that goes out about that is in a sort of reverse order right now, because drivers haven't done it because, well, no, we've seen that drivers haven't practiced it because they're going into it too slowly. But usually it's drivers going in too quickly. Daniele Giudici's doing a bit of a, what's it called, the swan thing? Swan Lake, a bit of Swan Lake on the grass for us. But wow, big turning point of the race for some of these guys. And that means now that Hans Polmans leads the consistency class. He's currently 4th overall as well. So Hansy's having a great job. Porsche Sport saying it's time for a safety car. What is that? What's that? Competition caution? Bring out the Porsche. that's like the new fire up the Quattro, isn't it? Bring out the Porsche. I love it. Absolutely love it. But that's not what we want to see, no matter what, Ed. You know, very, very messy moment there, and I imagine the Discord chat will be filled with many a comment on that one very, very soon.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's best left till after the race to dissect and examine, because at the moment we've still got an actual race on our hands. And I mean, after the pit stops, through all of the carnage, Lamy's come out with a healthy 1 second advantage, but that's been slowly but surely gnawed into and chipped away by Bart Daleman in behind. And I mean, we've seen Bart Daleman, he's been able to close in, but the overtaking's a lot harder because of the dirty air effect. I mean, when we went on board, we could hear the scrubbing of the tyres, the understeer really kicking in for him.
Yeah.
It's all about just piling the pressure, I think, onto Jerome Lamy and hoping that he makes a mistake like he did in the first race.
Did indeed. We can also, because of some things that I added to my SDK, because of doing some massive 12-hour endurance race on the weekend with Ed, we can actually look at this. We can look at pit stop. Oh, okay. Well, guess not. Okay, then. I was going to say we can look at pit stop strategy, but no, clearly not. It doesn't want to work for us. That's great, isn't it? That's great. Yeah, okay. Well, never mind. Shut up, Chaz. We can look at this, though. Bart Daleman has dropped it. There's no other word for it.
Yeah.
Exit at turn 1. Is he going to just clip the gravel? Yep.
Ooh.
We saw the exact same thing earlier on, didn't we? Was it Paul Godden that did it, or Wayne Palmer? One of the Simstickers cars?
Brian Loynes, commentator's curse from myself, and
I think Brian lost it at Coppice, didn't he?
yeah, he lost it at Coppice. I still feel terrible for Brian Loynes. I know it was. I know it's a big myth of the commentator's curse, but you know, I was immediately praised him, and then
you're
half a lap later.
You're literally like a Sith Lord. You just say somebody's name and lightning strikes. According to Matthew Crisp, who is always so supportive of his friends in any YouTube chat of any event I'm commentating on, or one that involves usually Kevin Zemstra or Silas Craig-Frolic, Matthew Crisp is saying Silas isn't here today, so the safety car driver can have a rest. I love that, Matt. I love it. Absolutely love it. Crispy's a really good laugh as well, and he's, like I say, very supportive in the chat. And it was Paul Godden. He's in the YouTube chat to tell us and everything. Really sorry to see you out of the race, Paul. Here's his teammate Brian Loynes, trying not to get commentators cursed by Ed May. Philip Russell now falls down to 8th place, but he's second in his class at the moment. So he will be pretty chuffed with how this one is going so far. But right now, well, I almost called him Pedro Lamy a couple of times at Belle Isle, but he's driving like it was Pedro Lamy behind the wheel. Jerome Lamy, he's on a mission, isn't he? Absolute mission, although it looks like somebody's had a big off into the tyres there. There were tyre tracks there that I hadn't seen before. Maybe Daniele Giudici can answer to those. No, he's gone off at turn 1. Has Tim Rutten gone in the wall? I believe they belong to Tim Rutten. Yep, there are those tyre tracks that I didn't see before. That's literally deja vu on the incident that he had earlier, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's a very tricky corner to get right, so it's not surprising that if you've made a mistake there once, you might have the risk of making that same mistake again. But looking at the margin that Lamy has over to Daleman, is this the largest margin that we've seen all season long? I'm trying to think now. In the feature race at Sebring, I know Daleman had a healthy advantage at the end of the race, but I don't know if it was anything like 12 seconds. We could be on track for the largest margin of victory here in this season, you know, Chaz.
We could indeed, and we've just hit half distance as well, to be fair. A couple of laps ago. Lap 24 out of 41 now for our race leader. And there are cars spread about all over the circuit. Look, it's quite an even spread. Although 10th, to be fair, all the way down to 14th is quite an interesting snake to look at. Carlos Alvarez in front. Carles Alvarez, I should say, is in 10th position at the moment. Ben Hoffman behind him, then Ivan Maynard. Wayne Palmer, 5 places gained, 3rd in class at the moment. He's got Khan Newen not too far behind, a couple of seconds, but still not too far off. Wayne Palmer is a good 1.5 seconds ahead of Khan Newen. But this is quite a sort of train at the moment. Now, the man that's got a lot of thinking to do is Hans Polmans. He currently leads the Consistency Class Championship. He's got Iker Estefania pushing right behind him. These two started together on the grid in 13th and 14th positions. But right now, Hansy's just got to think, do I really need to hold this guy off? Because you don't get points based on your overall position in this championship. They're all based on class position, aren't they, Ed?
Yeah, 100%. And speaking of class position, on the championship, as always, Daleman and Zemstra were first and second in the championship coming into this round here at Donington Park. The first race, we saw Zemstra finish 2 positions ahead of Daleman in class, and this time it's Daleman finishing 2 positions ahead of Zemstra as it stands. Of course, that can all change because Zemstra is closing in on Carlos Garcia by some rate as well, it has to be said. Less than a second, I think, between them. That was the starting bit of drive, was it, between these two, Holmans and Estefania. Holmans, again, not needing to fight this because consistency class drivers can't lose points for precision class drivers that finish ahead of them and vice versa. But this is a very nice drive, isn't it, from the Simracersworld driver. However, looking at the left-hand side, you can see actually it's not all plain sailing because Philip Russell, this could be one of his best performances of the season. He's second at the moment, and credit to him, he might be able to close in on Hans Polmans.
Yeah, he might be actually. He's going well at the moment. Let's have a look at their last lap times as he crosses the line. Hans Polman's obviously got overtaken, so he's going to have lost a bit of time. Philip Russell does his personal best actually, at 59.375. Hans Polman's did a 1 minute 0.5. So we'll have to see.
Gained a second.
Yeah, he did indeed. We'll have to see whether it makes much difference on this lap if Hans manages to get at least a lap without battling too hard with Iker Estefania. Ben Hoffman is stuck right behind Carles Alvarez. These two both in the precision class, trying everything he can do at the moment. There's Mr. Hoffman as, off the road has gone Brian Loynes, and that's one car out of the way then for Philip Russell. So he now has a direct fight with Hans Polmans. And the gap, as of right now, is 2.3 seconds between the pair of them. So this could go, well, one way or the other. It does say 1.7 there. That is not true. They will cross the line and it will update. There you go, 2.2 seconds between the pair. Let's just keep our eye on this for a little moment or so. Just see what changes. Mattis Martinsen comes into the pits for the second time. But Philip Russell right now, he'll see that Hansi is in front of him. You know, he's in visual range now, and it's come down to 2.1 seconds. Can Philip push, and go for this? Well, he's going to go to close the gap, but never mind go for the gap.
I mean, Philip Russell, he's had a bit of misfortune in the past few rounds, hasn't he? He's shown good flashes of pace, but the moments here and there have seen him drop down a little bit. I mean, let's not forget, he had an absolutely torrid time, didn't he, at Sebring for his first round of this season. I think it was 2 DNFs, wasn't it? Race 1 and race 2.
And we had Cammy in the chat as well for that. Cammy Sturch, the team manager, of course, Go for the Gap Racing, really egging on Philip Russell, and yeah, unfortunately, he didn't quite deliver, did he?
Yeah, she wasn't much help, it turned out, in the YouTube chat trying to cheer on Philip Russell. I'll tell you what, though, Mark Damon doesn't need any help in the lap times he's putting on. I think you and me were on the right track there, because look at that. 58.55. That is faster than Jerome Lamy's effort in qualifying.
They are the last lap times for everybody. I tell you what, let's do this properly, shall we, Chaz? Let's bring them up like that. There you go. And there you go. Jerome Lamy does his personal best. Bart Daleman's doing 58.5 last time round. Let's see what the gap is this time. 58.8. So he's still a bit quicker, actually, on that previous lap. So it is all still change. Once again, actually, while I'm messing with the overlay, I do want to sort of reiterate the importance of how international this championship is. I mean, there's so many people involved in this series from all different nationalities. You can see a lot of Dutch drivers. We've got Italians, Polish drivers, Vietnamese, Belgian, German, Spanish drivers from the UK. It's great to see it. Absolutely great to see it. And once again, NEVO and what was the Simracersworld community, of course, bringing in a very well represented grid. It has to be said. So only, 12 laps to go now. Nearly the length of what the sprint race was earlier on. And this could still get very, very spicy, I think, here, Ed. We don't need a battle box to tell us that that gap is pretty much nothing between these two. But Ben Hoffman putting some real pressure on Carles Alvarez, but he's just not able to get through yet.
Yeah, not yet, but from the pace that Hoffman's been putting in, he's been able to close that gap down quite substantially, very quickly, the first and last sectors as well is Ben Hoffman. So that could put a lot of pressure on Carles Alvarez, especially as they exit through Redgate, and big opportunity for a move down through the crane of curves and into the old hairpin. Watch. I mean, look at this shot from Ben Hoffman. You can see the suspension starting to work as he turns into the corner, gets onto the curb. It's a little bit wide, and you can see that that's just purely down to the aerodynamics, the dirty air, making it a lot harder to go through these higher speed, higher downforce corners where every amount of air pushing over the car helps your cornering speed. Lamey comes across the line to say 59.0. Daleman a 58.6. He's getting closer as Bart, but I don't know if he'll be able to close up until the end of the race, because from now until the end he will need to lap, well, over a second faster than Jerome Lamey to have brought that gap down to an area where he can fight for that first place.
Yeah, he will indeed. It'll have to be a very, very good one. Kevin Zemstra is on his way out of the pit lane after making, I believe, his second stop. He is the first driver to complete that. Carles Alvarez makes his way in. So can Ben Hoffman now push on these next couple of laps and really squeeze some time out and come out ahead of Carles Alvarez once he pits the second time? We will try and get that pit strategy graphic working further down the line, but as you see here, it clearly doesn't want to tell us absolutely anything at the moment. But we will get that going. I think, actually, you know, to be fair, let me just try something while we've still got it on screen. I'm just going to click this. It'll all reset. I think it's because yeah, okay. So that makes sense now. So basically, because it hasn't been in the actual overlay from the very start of the session. Admittedly, I added it in after the start, so it hasn't basically initialized, so it's not actually picking up anything. Bart Delman has pitted twice now, Ed. He makes his way back out. Philip Russell and Iker Estefani are both in the pits as well. I'll have to wait and see where those two come out, because obviously Hans Polmans has done his second stop, so he and Philip Russell actually will be fighting. Philip Russell's coming out of the pits. No, Hansy's gone through already. And where is Ben Hoffman? Oh, race leader in.
Lamey's here. Yep. Lamey's decided to come into the pits from the race lead. What will Carlos Garcia do? You'd imagine that he would follow suit. Over in second place. He's very stable, hasn't he? Very smart driving, just from... I mean, flying really under the radar, Chaz, to be honest. That's the only way you can describe it. It's a very sort of clandestine performance.
Oh, I like that.
Spaniard. Yeah, it's been wonderful stuff to see, and I mean, it's going to help his championship out a lot, considering where he finished the first race.
Is indeed. Got a great little trio here, cracking on. Now, one thing I do want to keep my eye on is this man. Ben Hoffman is into the pits. Now, obviously, he was fighting earlier with Carles Alvarez, who is now just making his way down the back straight. You would think that Ben would have no chance, but he's been in the pits for 4 seconds, just taking on the fuel he needs to do these final laps, and off he goes. Where is Carles Alvarez? He's just crossing the line now. He'll be coming into shot any second. There he is, and there goes Ben Hoffman. He's going to try and get around the outside. Oh, there's contact instantly as soon as Carles comes out across the front of him. And well, it's not the most conventional way of doing it. I thought we were going to get a Titanic scrap then. Behind them, Ivan Maynard and Philip Russell are right together. But Hans Polmans, after 2 stops, has got 6 precision class cars between himself and Philip Russell. So he's going to be happy. Bart Delman is now actually more of a gap behind Jerome Lamey after the stops. Despite having a shorter pit stop, Jerome was in the pits for a tenth of a second less, you know.
And that's all about maximising the runs into the pits. Isn't it all about getting that pit entry time down, even though you can have maybe a longer time stationary. If you're able to really get on the brakes late and just to make it onto the pit lane speed limiter, it can help you out a heck of a lot. Speaking of being helped out a heck of a lot, Hans Polmans doesn't really need any help at all, does he, up at the front of the field?
No. In
the consistency class at the very least. I mean, we thought he might be getting closed up to by Russell if we go for the gap racing, but that gap was never really there. Unfortunately, never materialised for the 107. I have to admit, try not to be biased, but 107, the number I like to race under. Good to see it's up there in the consistency class. A very nice looking car as well, Chaz. We've said it time and time again, but there's a very nice looking bit of kit. Is Estefania?
Big
whoa,
problems.
Whoa, what has happened here?
So that is the number 92 machine of Brian Loynes. Whoa, they came together on the way down the hill, and he's going to just, well, I'll say just, he clatters into the barrier, and that breaks the right rear. That was an odd one between those pair, definitely an odd one. Oh, the bit of netcode on the way in. Iker straightened the car up, and then Brian obviously tried to just go one way and then the other, didn't he? He tried to sort of stay out wide, and then he thought, you know what, I'm going to try and squeeze him to the inside. Not long after this, Ben Hoffman lost 2 places to Ivan Maynard and Carles Alvarez. So after doing all the hard work earlier on to beat the pair of them, he's unfortunately lost 2 spots. What's he going to do? Is it going to be through the chicane? Still on a replay, so we're still going to stick with this. I think maybe he's made a mistake at the chicane here. Let's have a look. Seems odd, doesn't it? He's definitely...
Not just the overtake, but he's definitely behind him now.
Yeah. Let's have a look. Is it going to be on the exit of here? Yeah, that looks wide. Yep. That'll do it. Wow, good save, though, because the car didn't completely rotate as Iker Estefania there sits in the pit lane. This man certainly doesn't. Jerome Lamy has spent very little time in the pit lane, and he spent all of this race out front. It was interesting to see that Bart couldn't do that much about him earlier on. The gap is now staying at around 11.4 seconds, 11.6 seconds. So Jerome Lamy, I'd say, unless something major happens, and touch wood, let's hope it doesn't, I'd say he's got this one in the bag. But with his inconsistency or sort of unpredictability, you know, I'm not saying he's inconsistent because he has been very consistent this race. With his unpredictability, we never know what could happen here, Ed.
I think the way to phrase it is he's a bit of an unknown quality for us, isn't he, Chaz? We've only really seen a little bits of him here and there. Obviously, his debut and the only race we've seen of him thus far this season was at Belle Isle, where he took his first race victory in the feature race, and he looks to take his second race victory in the feature race here at Donington. Ben Hoffman there. That was another moment for Year 1 racing driver, and actually he's decided
that's
to come into the pits.
He might have got some sort of penalty or something for incident points. You know.
Oh yeah, it's not a bad show.
If he's been off the circuit that many times, he is one of a couple of drivers in the race that have got, according to our software anyway, which isn't always accurate to what iRacing has given out, but he is only one of maybe 3 drivers or 4 that have gone over about 10 incidents. So yeah, I think maybe he has overdone it. Only a couple of laps left to go now for race leader Jerome Lamy. Brian Loynes here in 7th place is right behind Mattis Martinsen. Both of them want to try and get into the top 5, but in the top 5 at the moment is this man. Hans Polmans currently leading the class and doing a very, very good job of it as well. He is at the moment about 10.5 seconds clear of Philip Russell, and that feels like an absolute age around Donington Park. And Hansy, after the earlier, well, actually I was going to say retirement, but Martin Deckens is actually still in the race after that massive pit stop debacle earlier. So is Ivan Maynard. So fair play to the guys. They did go back out there. Give them credit where it's due. They are very, very committed. And wow, Bart Daleman, fastest lap. 58.4 brings the gap down. But I think, as you alluded to earlier, Ed, I don't think it's going to be enough now.
No, definitely not. And I think as well, we aren't seeing Jerome Lamy actually pushing the car to its limits. He has that sizable gap now on account of Daleman's earlier mistake, and he hasn't been pushing the car to its limits. He's been looking after it, which I think, to be fair, Lamy needed that, because we saw the errors creeping through not only at the start of qualifying but also towards throughout actually the first race of the evening. So this breathing space has allowed him to take the foot off the grass a little bit and settle down into a rhythm, and a rhythm that looks to be unbeatable as Lamy comes across the line. And only 2 more laps to go of this Donington Park circuit. Daleman doesn't really have an answer for the Year 1 racing driver, and hopefully from this point on we'll see Jerome right up until the last round of the season, because it's brilliant to see these two battling out and fighting for race victories, as Brian Loynes was chasing very closely in behind Matt Martinson. Lost out a little bit on dirty air, and actually is he going to lose out down into the chicane? I think for a moment we saw Carlos Alvarez darting up the inside.
He did get
Tim
through.
Rutten has a moment coming out of Redgate. This is the pair of them. This is live pictures. There's no going at it. He got through, but Brian Loynes fighting his way back right the way around the outside into turn 1. Is he going to carry the momentum? Yes, he is, but is he going to have the position? Look at how close they were on the exit all the way down through the crater curves. Now it surely is going to be Brian Loynes' corner. And I think we're going to see Alvarez just concede the position a little bit. Yes, we do. That was wonderful stuff from Brian. He was out of position, really under threat, but somehow used his quick wit to hold on to 7th place.
He did. It was absolutely wonderful. This man has just done his personal best lap of the race as well. Nothing Bart Daleman can do about him now. He just did a 58.7 with a personal best through Sector 1. And he is absolutely flying right now, is Jerome Lamy. We saw him take a very, very impressive result from Belle Isle. And since that moment, we have waited for him to come back into the championship and looked forward to it all along. It's been an amazing return. Very, very fierce fighting early on. But out of the final couple of corners, Team Year 1 can celebrate because Jerome Lamy takes another win in the NEVO Sim Stickers Formula 3 Championship. Fantastic drive. Absolutely amazing. Really, really dominant performance. Across the line behind them comes Osiawala, Estefania, and Bart Daleman is going to finish in 2nd position. More solid points, though, for Bart. Well done to him. Carlos Garcia is going to be next up. Palmer and Khan Newen have crossed the line. Carlos Garcia, a very under-the-radar podium, it has to be said. Kevin Zemstra crosses the line 4th. And where is Hansi? Hans Polmans is on his way to take a win again in the consistency class. That's exactly what he needs, Ed. Especially as he came into this lead in the championship. He's going to leave with an even bigger gap. Beautiful stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly what Hans was going to be hoping for coming out of the racing here at Donington. It's a tricky circuit at the best of times, and with plenty of action happening all around him, he kept a clear head and brought the home for the consistency class victory. Huge shout out though to Philip Russell for Go For The Gap Racing, a wonderfully well earned podium. And Martin Deckens in behind for Simracersworld makes it 2 Flemish cars on the consistency class podium, but this man, Jerome Lamy, what a race. I mean, what a qualifying performance first and foremost, and then from then on out he converted it brilliantly into the race victory.
He did indeed. It was an absolutely mega drive, wasn't it? He did a really, really strong job, and it was very, very entertaining all the way through. Certainly a wonderful night of racing once again from the NEVO Sim Stickers Formula 3 Championship. And here is your result from the 2nd race of the night. Jerome Lamy wins by just under 11 seconds from Bart Daleman, one of the biggest advantages we've seen in the championship. Carlos Garcia is 3rd, another 14 seconds back, but all the same, still a podium. Kevin Zemstra is 4th. Hans Polmans rounds out the top 5 with a win in consistency, with Mattis Martinson 6th, Brian Loynes in 7th, just ahead of Carlos Alvarez across the line. Ivan Maynard finishes 9th. Philip Russell rounds out the top 10, with Martin Deckens 3rd in class and the last car on the lead lap. The cars 1 lap down were Wayne Palmer, Khan Newen and Tim Rutten, with Adam Osiawala and Mattis Groen 2 laps down. Iker Estefania was 3 laps down. Ben Hoffman did not finish the race, but was still classified 5 laps down, I should say. Daniele Giudici, Niles van der Kokelt and Paul Godden not finishing the race either. Well, a very, very entertaining night once again, Ed. We knew that Donington Park was going to be good. It's always been a real staple on the calendar for this championship as well. And to be honest, I mean, I may be a little bit biased because I'm still sort of riding a high from a great weekend there a few weeks ago. But I think it's such an underrated circuit. Don't you agree?
It is. It's a really, really nice track. But, I mean, I'm looking at all of the action we've seen today, and something that I think needs to be mentioned is Kevin Zemstra's performance. I mean, we saw him at the start of the proceedings in the 2nd race. He had a really torrid start, and we were worried, has he got cramp? Is he going to be struggling? He put all the doubters to rest, though, didn't he? He really came through and fought for an amazing P4.
He did indeed. Actually, Zemstra did a really, really good job in that one. Really, really good job in the latter stages. And eventually coming home in 4th after starting 8th on the grid in car 88. He'll be really, really pleased. Martin Deckens has just mentioned in the chat that he's very sorry about the pit lane entry crash. But one thing he won't be sorry about is the fact that his teammate ended up winning his class. Hans Polmans joins us once again, and I'm sure in very, very high spirits this time. That looked like a hell of a lot of fun, mate. Talk us through it.
Yeah, I'm shot. I was sick on Monday. I had a bad flu. Didn't get off the couch for 2 days. I slept, I think, half the day today just to do this race.
Wow, fair play.
Yeah.
And it paid off.
Yeah, in the end it was a bit much. I was getting tired and my muscles were painful, but managed to get through.
Well, that's it. And I mean,
how good.
In a championship like this that's as close as it is, you know, it's very important to make every round whenever you can, no matter what, to make sure you get the points out of it, isn't it?
Yeah, indeed.
And what did you make of Donington Park in general? Because, I mean, we know it can be such a fun circuit. It certainly looked like it out there, but some of the drivers were saying it was really slippery tonight.
It was quite okay. This was just one corner. I can't recall the name. I think it was the fifth, just before the blind right. You have to take it right and don't overdo it, because that one wants to unsettle the car so easily. And for the rest, yeah, I think I prefer the other layout more than this one. The chicane was tricky, but the longer one is more fun.
You're probably the only person in the world that prefers Donington Grand Prix circuit to Donington National, to be honest with you. What do you reckon, Ed? Do you prefer the National or the Grand Prix circuit?
National. All day, every day, the National.
There we
You
go.
gotta sling it through that chicane to end out the lap. It's so much nicer than those two long, lumberous little hairpins that can. I just can't get right. I mean, I just don't like them because I'm bad at them. Everything else,
Me too.
I'm good at, but I'm
I'm
awful
just-
at those last two.
I'm just one of those guys that if everybody goes right, I go left.
And that's why we love you, Hansi. That's why we love you here on the channel.
And I rather went left on this track.
Oh yeah, definitely, mate. Well, I tell you what, it was great fun to watch, mate. Another strong result for your championship. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, for Martin. Unfortunately, he clipped somebody on the pit entry at the first pit and the second race. But he's a good mental presence to keep me going.
I like that. That's always what you need out of a teammate. Well, thank you very much for speaking to us once again, Hansi. Great to see you, mate. And we will see you, well, next time round.
Tuesday, the Porsche Cup.
Now. I'm not going to be around for that one, unfortunately.
Come on.
No, I'm not going to be there. I get back from France literally at 7:45 in the evening UK time, which is when the broadcast starts. So, unfortunately, I won't be there for that. But I've heard that there are some drivers making appearances there, aren't there?
Well, we'll see the next race then.
You will indeed, mate. Well, thanks very much for joining us, mate. We'll see you soon.
Till next time. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Yes, that's my way of confirming that. Yeah, unfortunately, I will not be around on Tuesday for the next broadcast. My flight from France lands literally the minute that the broadcast is due to start, which is just typical. But you know, Clio's wanted to race on Bank Holiday Monday, much as they do over here in the UK with British GT and all other events that go on. We have just lost. Philip Russell has jumped in and out. I'm not sure if he could not hear us or something for a second. I think he is jumping in and out, actually. We'll give him a second to sort that out. And what we'll do is drag in this man, Bart Daleman, who we said earlier is probably relishing the fact that he's got a great championship fight going on here. And to be fair, Bart, you've got to work hard to catch that Lamey boy. He's fast, isn't he?
I was on the limit. And then a little bit over the limit to stay with it. I had one good chance. And I think, we both at the same pace. We were both so fast, and it's very difficult. And he made one mistake, and then you have to capitalize. And I didn't do that. And after that, I just wanted to stay close to him. If he made another mistake, then try again. But he didn't make any mistakes. And I was the one that was cracking under pressure. And I am actually lucky that I'm second, because we were probably that fast that we just drove away from everyone. So.
Well, that was it, and I mean, it looked like good fun around that circuit, though. We were just talking to Hans Polmans then about Donington Park. Such a high-speed circuit, but these cars treat it so well, don't they?
yeah, I love this circuit. I really do, and I was really gutted that we are using the national one because I really didn't like this chicane. I'm a bit faster on this circuit when we go to the Grand Prix layout, but yeah, the community voted for it, so yeah, I tried my best, and yeah, Brian helped me a lot because he was faster the whole weekend in that chicane, and his tips helped me to at least get the pace there.
Well, it's certainly been entertaining once again, mate. And, you know, the championship always delivers. It's always close. There's always a little bit of drama as well. One of the strangest incidents we've ever seen actually going into the pit lane happened tonight. But you'll have to watch that one back, and I'm sure you all will.
I heard something, yeah. I heard something.
I can imagine that news travels fast to you. Obviously, as the season goes on, it's looking like it's going to be a very, very exciting calendar, to be honest with you. What is the sort of, out of the rounds that we've got coming up, which are the ones that you're really looking forward to?
Yeah, Red Bull Ring. That's my track. I really love that track, and that's a track I can spend hours and hours on it. So I hope to at least defend there the race win I had last year, because there I won the championship with the strategy I had there. So I'm looking forward to that. Hockenheim is not a track I'm looking forward, but yeah, Mid-Ohio next week, that will be interesting. I'm really looking forward to drive that track.
Yeah, Mid-Ohio will be fantastic. Ed and I have commentated there before, actually, on, it was GT3, wasn't it, Ed, that we covered there. It's an amazing circuit for racing, Bart, so I reckon the Formula 3s will be absolutely spot on around there. As for now, though, we need to move on and wrap things up. Is there anyone you'd like to give a quick thanks to?
I want to thank all the admins of NEVO. I want to thank you guys, also Ed, who's also very involved with giving some tips and for the pushing the community further, which I thank you, Ed, because you're always welcome to put your feedback in the admin chat. And the architect guys, because they motivate me every day to practice. I have all the quotes on my wall, and every time I go to practice I look at all the cries that they had, so, and that's motivation to put lap in after lap. So.
Cracking stuff, Bart. Well, good to speak to you as always, mate, and we look forward to seeing you next time round. Thank you.
See you next time, mate.
Cheers. Oh, I don't think Bart had any dinner. He was certainly intrigued by trying to eat his microphone, wasn't he? Someone else that's probably going to try and yeet his microphone across the room if he has any more problems with it, either that or his router, is Philip Russell. I'll leave him in the very capable hands of our wonderful Edward May.
Hello. Philip, can you hear us first and foremost? If you can hear us, we can't hear him.
This isn't Big Brother. He's just messaged me. He says, nope, it's done it again. Apparently Discord has disconnected him, so we're sorry, Philip, but hopefully we'll catch you next time, mate. Either way, well done, and yeah, hopefully we'll see you again.
And do you know what? we can substitute that for the driver that I feel very sorry for.
Yeah, you've got some apologising to do, Ed, mate.
I know what you've orchestrated this. Fate has orchestrated this. I can't interview Philip Russell, so now I have to interview the driver who I cursed viciously on the stream. I don't know if you were hearing it, Brian, but I was praising you for doing such a great job fighting up in P3, praising your racecraft as well from the start, and then not half a lap later through Coppice, such a difficult corner, and it just all came undone, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, unfortunately my talent came to an abrupt end coming through Coppice, and that was for sure. You stick a rear wheel on there and that's the end of that.
Nah, I don't think you can be to blame for that. I'll accept full responsibility, mate. Don't you worry. You've been coming on really strongly though in these past few rounds. I mean, Belle Isle was a stunning drive. You just narrowly missed out on the strategy against Bart Damon in the first race, and then, I mean, Imola, you getting your first race victory. It seemed to have, lit a fire inside. You're really a driver that's on form, barring that last incident. But we can look past that because that was down to me, not you.
That's the best way to look at it, I think. I'll agree for the time being, anyway.
That's good, mate. And of course, will you be able to carry this rich vein of pace that you've found to Mid-Ohio? Is it a track that you've got any familiarity with in iRacing?
Have a little bit. not so much with the F3. I don't think I've ever driven an F3 car around there, but I really like the track. So I'm looking forward to the undulations are going to be really interesting in these cars and see how they handle, particularly the last part of the track. I think that's quite quick if I remember rightly.
It is really rapid.
I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes and following cars through there. I think it's going to be an interesting track for these cars.
100%. Well, I know me and Chaz, we're going to be really looking forward to it, as by the sounds of things you are as well, Brian. Really great to have a chat with you and wishing you all the best for the rest of the rounds this season. But before we bid you goodbye and bid the rest of the stream goodbye as well, I think, Chaz, is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to, Brian?
I'll give a quick shout out to you guys, Chaz and yourself, Edward, for dealing with the chaos this. I heard there was a pit lane incident halfway through that was being a bit chaotic. But thank you for the stream. Obviously, Bart and the NEVO team, I know they put a lot of hard work with all their series and getting that off of the ground running. And Paul at SimStickers, a great team to be part of and working for and striving to do the best that we can out on track. So yeah, great fun. Thank you very much.
No worries. Thank you very much, Brian.
Thank you.
Lovely stuff then. Brian Loyne's our final interview of the night. In the meantime, I was just speaking to Philip Russell over text, essentially, in Discord private messages. He sent me a screenshot showing pretty much what happens when we drag him into the interview booth, and basically as soon as we drag him in here, for some reason it disconnects him straight away. On the screenshot though, I'm going to shame him for this, I've noticed one thing, and it's the fact that, and I know this is going to really trigger you as well, Ed.
Oh no, don't tell. There's one thing that you would say that would really upset me, and I think, don't. Is it going to be?
Go on, take a guess.
Is he using light mode?
No, he's not using light mode, actually. So it's all right.
Okay, that's fine.
Although the keyboard's in light mode, but Discord's not. No, it's obviously in Discord, you'd get a little number in the top left of your screen with a red dot, like you do with most applications, when you have an unread notification.
Oh.
Philip Russell has 592 unread notifications on his Discord. So if you think Philip's been ignoring you, it's probably because he has. But I said to him, it's probably karma that he can't connect, because it's his phone telling him, read all this first. You've got other things to do. But all jokes aside, unfortunately, we cannot speak to Philip this evening, but we hope to in future, because he was a right star tonight. This man was, though, Jerome Lamy. What an absolutely amazing performance once again in that second race, Ed. That was mega, wasn't it?
That was stunning. Shame we haven't had a chance to speak with our race victor, but nevertheless, it was a stunning drive from, well, the newcomer still, I think it's fair to call him, for this NEVO SimStickers F3 Championship. Of course, plenty of these drivers have been around from the good old days of Simracersworld, the F3 Championship there, and Jerome Lamy, the unknown quantity, has come out and might finally have the beating of Bart Delman. His qualifying pace was stunning. He kept it clean and stable in the race. Who knows what we'll see from him, though, when we go to Mid-Ohio in a week's time.
It is going to be an absolute corker. Thank you once again, everybody, for joining me and Ed here. It's been an absolute joy. Really good stuff to continue to bring you this championship. That is all we have time for, though, this evening here on Chaz Draycott Media. As you heard there, we will be back at Mid-Ohio in a week's time. Unfortunately, no broadcast next Tuesday for the Porsche Cup Series. Being completely honest and putting all my cards on the table here, we've not been able to source a replacement, unfortunately, and I will not be back in time to commentate from when I get back from France over the weekend. So apologies for that, but thank you for sticking with us, and we look forward to seeing you next time round. But from me, Chaz Draycott, and the wonderful Ed May, we'll see you soon.
Opportunistic, still rubbing panels as they go together. It's folded the wing mirror in on Gerardo's car.
Misano is such a difficult circuit for these guys to get right. There's a lot of start-stop sections around the back. It's a very, very quick section as well.
It's a fantastic start from the 23. They're 4 wide there by the look of it.